Brandin Cooks is now in Dallas. What's it mean for the Dallas wide receiver room? What's it mean for Dak? What's it mean for the Houston Texans wide receiver room? Let's talk about all the fantasy football impacts of this specific move. And let's take your phone calls and let's do it live. Let's have a day. File on in.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Smitty. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show, and we've got a little news to go over that impacts a whole lot of things. I don't know that the player himself involved in this trade, Brandin Cooks, is going to the moon or anything, but this is certainly a good move for him to get into a position where he can be relevant again. Not that the Houston Texans weren't heading in that direction, but this guy's window is probably closing, and he's going to pass by the Texans as the Texans rise up. And so it makes sense for him to go elsewhere for immediate use, and it makes sense for Houston to continue to build because they're kind of a year away, maybe even a little less than a year away of becoming that potential, the new Detroit Lions. Like the Detroit Lions last year were impressive, right? Very, very impressive, but they didn't actually close it out and become that team that was going to surprise everybody, make the playoffs, win a playoff game, do something crazy. The Texans are on the Detroit Lions track last year. They will impress this year. They won't make the playoffs, but they're a couple years away. This club is a couple years away, and if you want to laugh at that, before you open your mouth, before you start typing Timothy, keyboard warrior William, you might want to just take a little gander at the NFL draft and order and take a look at this number 2 and number 12 pick. The Houston Texans are about to draft Stroud or Anthony Richardson or Bryce Young, and they're potentially about to draft Jackson Smith-Njigba or another player here. This move only confirms in my mind that the Houston Texans are strongly considering a Jackson Smith-Njigba, a Quentin Johnston, or a Jordan Addison, or maybe a Zay Flowers. Probably not Zay. I think it's going to be Jackson Smith-Njigba. But trading away Brandin Cooks only confirms in my mind the likelihood that this Houston Texan team is targeting a wide receiver at that 12 spot. And to be honest with you, 2 years from now, we'll be looking at the Houston Texans very, very differently than we're looking at them now. I just want to make that clear and be on the record saying that. Now, again, I believe this is a good move for Brandin Cooks because he now goes to a place where he can be utilized. He goes to a place that's been searching for a wide receiver too, and now they've got one. One that I don't believe is going to be so impacting that he's going to drain from CeeDee Lamb. I think it only probably helps CeeDee Lamb. I don't think it hurts CeeDee Lamb. We look at the trade right here, and then we'll go over the other ramifications. By the way, first in the building today was Ron Navy. First in the building, Ron.
To the moon.
Ron Navy first in the building. DJ Do, Lunchbox, Adam, Thomas, Bruce in the building. Cheryl, Jimmy, Lawn Guy, Jimmy the Kid, Adam, and Blind Larry all next in the building. Appreciate you. File on in. 70 of you in here. Please punch that thumb up button. Appreciate you. We got the gardener or something. I gotta change this. He continues to think the backyard is the front yard. Ziggy, who is Brandin Cooks playing football for in 2023? He knows nothing. Ziggy, where does Brandin Cooks play football?
Brandin Cooks is a wide receiver for the Houston Texans.
Damn it, Ziggy!
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
Of course you don't have an answer for it, Ziggy. He plays for the Dallas Cowboys, Ziggy. He plays for the Dallas Cowboys.
From Wikipedia.org. Marquise Bell, born January...
Ziggy, off. The Houston Texans received the 5th-round draft pick in 2023 and a 6th-round pick in 2024. The Dallas Cowboys received Brandin Cooks. That is the official trade. Don't listen to Ziggy. He's behind on the times. This was from Trey Wingo, our boy Trey. We like pulling up Trey Wingo news, don't we? Dallas did a good job here. Cooks could still play at a high level. I agree. The Dallas Cowboys badly needed reinforcements in the wide receiver room, and the team received just that in the form of Brandin Cooks from the Houston Texans. Look, this is a good trade, a very good trade for Dallas. Here is the wide receiver room now in Houston. Nico Collins gets a bump, okay? So let's drop down here to the Houston Texan wide receiver room. Okay, Nico Collins gets a bump. Robert Woods gets a little bump. Noah Brown gets a little bump. Amari Rodgers, meh. Mechie gets a little bump. We still need to know Mechie's healthy and able to play football. There's a lot of optimism about him being ready. He had the torn ACL a little bit earlier, then suffered the leukemia and cancer type situation. We're rooting for him. Prayers up. Mechie to the moon. Absolutely hope this guy does bounce back. But we do need to wait a little bit before we start vaulting him into the number one wide receiver role because of this news. Also, keep in mind, as I said, this team is probably on a path to draft the number one or number two drafted wide receiver in this 2023 NFL draft class. So Jackson Smith-Njigba, if he should fall to 12, and he probably shouldn't, because the Bears should take him at 9. If he falls to 12 or Quentin Johnson goes at 12, then the wide receiver room changes once again. But for right now, this is the wide receiver room in Houston, which is not very formidable, but it will be once they draft a wide receiver. Dallas wide receiver room, Lamb is not really that affected in a negative way. Could Cooks steal some of his work or targets? I suppose it's possible, but the problem is Lamb's going to get double teamed like crazy if they don't bring somebody in. So Brandin Cooks is a necessity. And I'd rather it be Brandin Cooks than a Jackson Smith-Njigba. I'd rather it be Brandin Cooks than somebody much, much, much better. Cooks has had a pretty solid career. Let me pull up Cooks' game log. This is his game log. In Houston, he had 3 TDs and 699. That's not like an amazing season, right? Okay, but Houston wasn't exactly facilitating the football properly in 2022. So we can't really hold that number against him, but we could also say, hey, look, he's played football for a number of years. This guy's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons. I don't think he's probably going to replicate numbers in the best variety range of his career. He's not going to come out and I think pull in 9 or 10 touchdowns and 1,200 yards, which is what he would do in his biggest season, right? 11, 73 and 8, 10, 82 and 7, 12, 04 and 5, 11, 50 and 6, 10, 37 and 6. So his probably best season is going to be around 900 to 1,000 yard season. With probably 4 to 6 touchdowns, which is good, and that's a wide receiver 3-4 maybe. Maybe Cooks is your wide receiver 3-4. You don't want him as your wide receiver 2. Don't get overly excited and vault this guy into some 1,200 yard 10 TD wide receiver in your mind. But could he get 900 yards and 6 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns? Sure. 1,000 yards even and 5 or 6 touchdowns, maybe. But CeeDee Lamb, ultimately, I believe this is good for him. This guy's at the end-ish version, territory of his career. So I don't expect him to bleed CeeDee Lamb dry of anything. I just want to make that abundantly clear. So Lamb season's still in full effect. Lamb
to the moon.
Don't worry about CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's on his way to probably, let's pull up Lamb's stats last year, okay? CeeDee Lamb, let's pull up his stats and put it on screen, and let's take a look at the Lamb Chops 2022 season. He had a great year. We had people say that he didn't do as good as they had hoped for. He had a fantastic season. I don't know what people are talking about. This is CeeDee Lamb right here, 2022 stat line, okay? This is his game log. What a year this Lamb Chops had. Get lambed. Here we go. Dallas, 17 games, 107 reception department, 1359 in the yardage department, and 9 touchdowns. I don't think he can have under 9 touchdowns or 9 or under touchdowns this year. I think Lamb is only bound for double-digit touchdowns 2020. I just can't picture under 10. I think, does he soar over 10? No, probably not. 11, maybe 12, maybe 10 even. 100-yard games, let's give him 6 or 7 instead of 5. Yardage, 1,350 to 1,400 is fine. I don't know that he necessarily has more yards, but I think he has more 100-yard games, maybe by 1 or 2. He has more touchdowns by maybe 1 or 2. I think he has about 100 receptions. So maybe he'll be a little more efficient in some ways, but get like bigger stats by a little bit. Lamb Chop should be fine for 100, 1,350, 6 to 7 100-yard games. Let's call it 6 and be conservative, and 10 scores. That's what I expect out of CeeDee Lamb in 2023, with the addition of Brandin Cooks helping keep defenses honest. Brandin Cooks is good enough to make it difficult for an opposing defense to just double Lamb and give no concern at all toward Brandin Cooks. Brandin Cooks is still dangerous. He can still be a field stretcher. So at the end of the day, this is good news for CeeDee Lamb. At the end of the day, this is better than CeeDee Lamb facing a much more exciting, younger, more hungry, more ready to, vulture. We're just in a much better spot, I think, than people think. Whenever an addition happens, whenever somebody says, oh, this player got added, oh my God, is it the end for CeeDee Lamb? You know, we hear that a lot. People get so worked up about trades and different things like that. Acquisitions. Oh, does that hurt this player? Look, the Cowboys had to bring somebody in. The Cowboys were going to bring somebody in. Let's let it be Brandin Cooks. Brandin Cooks, Ben says up or down. It's obviously up. But you just saw me explain that. Ben, Cooks is wash, says Lee. So there's some of the people that don't believe Cooks is all that good. So that's good for CeeDee Lamb truthers who are worried about what's this do for CeeDee Lamb. There are tons of people that have different opinions on this, and that's fine. Opinions are what we need. We live off opinions on this show. I always thought Ziggy was your dog. Ziggy is Ziggy. I love Ziggy, and he's not going anywhere, but he definitely doesn't do his job properly, but we just tolerate him. Just tuned in. Texans finally found someone to take Cooks. Yeah, look, Cooks has been traded for a crazy amount of. Look at Cooks has been traded for. This is insane. Look at this right here. Cooks has been traded for a first-round pick, a second-round pick, a third-round pick, a fifth-round pick, a sixth-round pick, and a sixth-round pick. He's been moved around quite a bit. Brandin Cooks has been traded for this in his career. That is crazy. First-round pick, second-round pick, third-round pick, fifth-round pick, sixth-round pick. That's absolute madness. That's crazy. Let's open the phone lines real quick and get your takes.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Very interested to hear what you all think. I haven't taken any Cooks in best ball. He's been too expensive. I regret now, though. I wouldn't regret it, bro. He's not guaranteed anything. And like I said at the top of the show, 905 or 6 touchdowns is what, I'm expecting. Maybe 1,000-yard season under Dak. Dak can feed. There could be 2,000-yard receiving wide receivers on the squad, from the wide receiver position. There could be 2,000-yard guys. We got a 17-game season now. Having 2,000-yard receivers is not that crazy anymore, especially when one of them is borderline 1,000 yards, like 999 is what we're going to predict. Let's project that. Go forward. The stat line for Brandin Cooks is 999. What did the Texans get right here? Texans receive a 5th-round pick in 2023, a 6th-round pick in 2024. And they're probably, what we think is they're going after this Jackson Smith and Jigba character that's going to be catching footballs from the rookie quarterback they bring in, whether it's Anthony Richardson, whether it's Stroud, whether it's Bryce Young. It's going to be Bryce Young to Jackson Smith and Jigba, hopefully. Or Stroud to Jackson Smith and Jigba, hopefully. Or Anthony Richardson running and scrambling all around and then throwing the football to Jackson Smith and Jigba. But this Houston Texans team, give them a year and a half before you start judging them. Because everybody's judging them with the lights off right now. Okay? But once this draft is over, They're going to look a lot different with the lights on. And I want you to keep an open mind. This Texans organization's run very well now. This is Caserio. He's a fantastic GM. Under Ryan Poles, he's right there. He's right there in terms of being one of the better GMs in the National Football League. He's the one that got rid of Deshaun Watson for the most amazing package that we've ever seen in our life. This guy's a miracle worker, Caserio. He's turning the Texans around. Drafted Dameon Pierce. Look how that looked. How that turned out. This is a new Texans organization. They're doing it slow, like Ryan Poles in Chicago. People question Ryan Poles getting rid of players. He got there, got rid of players, got rid of good players. Started cleaning house, started freeing up cap from the beginning. Knew it's going to take a good year to two to get to where he's going now. Rockout says the Wedding Crashers on TV. Mom, meatloaf. Miss Mitty's going to kill me if I do that today. Hey, at least they moved him. Was a bad situation. Yeah, it was for the moment. Houston's going to turn it around, but they're about a year and a half to about a year away. I like your border collie, by the way. Those are the best dogs. I think Cooks leaving is great for the Texans, so they are really able to start fresh this year, says DJ Do. And that's why I love the idea of bringing in a wide receiver. Appreciate you, DJ, for dropping that. Phone lines are open. Dial on in. Oh, Cheryl, sorry about your super chat. It's sitting here. Cheryl says, "Hey, Smitty, where do you value Najee?" Cheryl, you still here? I hope you're still here. Najee, given his prior years, ADP, Kirk, given Ridley's return. Okay, so where do I value Najee, given his prior year? I think he's a fine third-round player. I wouldn't take him in round 2. Not that he can't earn round 2 value, Najee Harris, but I think he's probably better serving you as a low-risk third-round player that has high second-round upside. And he does. He does have high second-round upside, but he also crapped the bed really hard last year, and part of it was injury. Part of it was a whole bunch of different things, but we have been left with a "what have you done for me lately" type of feeling, and I can't seem to shake it enough to say, yeah, I trust him fully where I trusted him last year without, just giving him a full benefit of the doubt. I can't. I gotta give him. I give him a little hope to getting back to what we expected him to be last year. But I mean, third round value packages in that risk level pretty well. So I'd say third round value is pretty good. Cheryl, you still here? Hopefully you're still here. Okay, yeah, you're still here. I see it. As for, and thank you again for the super chat. As for Christian Kirk, so third round pick is pretty good. I think if he's your third drafted player. Last night we did a draft where I drafted, I forget who I took in round 1 and 2, but I took Najee Harris in the third round, and it felt pretty decent. If you get him around 4, it's even better. But I would say, if I had to guess, he's going in the third round pretty regularly, so you don't really have to overpay. He's not a big risk at this point, unless he climbs into round 2. If he climbs into round 2, I'm out. I'm not drafting Najee in round 2. ADP, Christian Kirk with Ridley in town. I'd say Kirk is still very undervalued in some circles and overvalued in others. I don't think he's a guy that is the same across the board. Like, I did a best ball draft a week ago, and he fell pretty far. And then I did a draft last night where he went as a high-end wide receiver too. That's way too high. I get it. He's got the upside for it, but high-end wide receiver too? No. Wide receiver 3 material? Sure. I even timed out on one of my drafts, and I came back. He was my 4th drafted player. I timed out, Cheryl, and I got him as my 4th drafted player in the 4th round. And I about lost it. 999, Lon Guy says, the Kane plan. Remember Herman Cain? 999. That's what Brandin Cooks has scored. Yardage-wise, that's what he's getting. He's racking up 999. That's where I got that. Yeah, Herman Cain, that tax plan. Poor guy. That guy, rest in peace, man. Herman Cain. I think he did pass. But anyways, Christian Kirk, I was so mad when I came back to my draft and I timed out on my best ball draft, my slow best ball draft, and I had Christian Kirk sitting there in my 4th player drafted spot. It was way too high. Way too high. Do I think he's got potential? Certainly. But Ridley's there to try and, I think, mix that up. You've got Zay Jones. You've got Ingram. You've got a lot of potential mouths to feed. And Ridley's telling us that I think he put it on his family that he was going to have 1,400 yards. Did he not, Bruce? Isn't that what Ridley said? He put it like on his family that if he's healthy, he's having 1,400 yards?
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. If I'm Christian Kirk, I'm worried about that. I'm worried about that. I like Ridley more than I like Kirk. But that isn't to say that Kirk doesn't deserve a little look-see for the best wide receiver on this team in 2023, but you got to pause. So, I don't know. What's Kirk's ADP right now? Bruce, do you know off the top of your head? Let's take a look at it. Bruce, what can I do for you? Brucey. Hello?
What, do you go away?
Oh, I thought Bruce was on here too. Rock out, what's up? I thought Bruce was here too.
Oh, was he?
I thought he was. My phone system sometimes. Rock out, what can I do for you?
So you think Cowboys are out on Hopkins since they got Cook?
Hopkins, the Cowboys are out on Hopkins and probably. Not necessarily, but probably. Real quickly, rock out while you're here. Bruce, if you were calling in, call back in. If that was my phone line's old missed call, I apologize. My system's really weird today. I got to restart my phone line. But Bruce, I would like you to call into this panel if you can. Rock out. Let's see here. I'm trying to find the ADP of Christian Kirk. Okay, Christian Kirk's ADP is 49.5 divided by 12. Rock out is what? I think I just muted rock out. 49.5 divided by 12 is exactly 4.125. 4th round value. Not even rock out, not even late 4th round. That is early 4th round. When I timed out on best ball and I got handed Christian Kirk as my 4th drafted player, when there were players on the board like Drake London and let's see here. Let me see who else is there about 49. You're talking about Drake London. You're talking about quarterbacks are there too. That sometimes Burrow falls there. Lamar's there. Who else is there? Christian Watson is there. DJ Moore sometimes there. Najee's ADP. Cheryl, to your point, 42.6. That's Najee's ADP. 42.6. That's pretty good. So to your Najee question, 42.6. I'm fine with that. To Christian Kirk's ADP is just way, way, way too high for me. Way too high. 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me Drake London 100,000 times out of 100,000 times over Christian Kirk this year. Give me. Maybe I shouldn't be that aggressive about it. Give me it like 999. 999 out of 1,000 times. Gibbs 60.2 ADP. That's I'd rather have Gibbs. Aaron Jones 62.3. I'd probably rather have Aaron Jones. And it's not because of what he didn't do or whatever last year. He obviously had a year. If we pull up Christian Kirk's game log, the guy had 1108 and 8 TDs and 84 receptions. Phenomenal year. Like saying don't go near Christian Kirk at 4.1 ADP, talk about the top of the 4th round, doesn't mean we don't appreciate what he did last year. But there's this very little chance he can replicate that with Calvin Ridley, who swore on his family that he was going to get you 1,400 yards. I don't know. I'm just not going near that. I'm not going near that. Not to mention Ingram, Zay Jones. I just can't see it. I think Kirk's in for a nice little year. Like if he could get 1,108 and 8 TDs and 84 receptions in last year's environment, I see no reason he can't get like 999. I see no reason he can't get 999 and maybe 7 or 8 scores still, but the yardage is going to be a lot less. The receptions will probably be around 80. So he could maybe replicate close to the touchdown production, close to the reception production, but that 1108 is probably in the 999 range. That's my guess, and you're certainly welcome, and I'm sure Ron Navy's was steaming because he loves Christian Kirk. Steaming about this, but you're more than welcome to take him from me in round 4, Ron. I'm just not going near him in round 4. That was way too high. Ron, I got timed out, and I got Christian Kirk in like the beginning of the 4th round. I wasn't happy.
Well, the thing is, yeah, Christian Kirk is going a little too high. I agree with you there, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
Because Ridley's there. We don't know what Ridley's going to do, but there's always that chance that, I mean, Ridley, who's going to take, somebody's going to not benefit from Ridley being there. And it's either going to be Zay Jones, it's going to be Christian Kirk. One of those two, I feel are going to not do good with Ridley being there. But,
yeah. Also, one thing I want to add is that the value of let's say Tony Pollard in round 3. I mean, let's be real. This is real talk here. Okay, I'm gonna turn the music off. It's a serious moment here. The value of Tony Pollard in round 3 is probably so tempting to Ridley that he might just place a bet and try and send Pollard to the moon. Wouldn't shock me at all if he got that itch one more time because Tony Pollard's value is so good. He might get on Underdog Fantasy using promo code Smitty and say, Smitty, I can't resist. Tony Pollard to the moon. And then all of a sudden the doors open back up for Christian Kirk. But if this guy can stay off of the Underdog Fantasy app, if this guy can stay with his head plugged in and focused, there's a real good shot that Ridley has that 1,400 yards that he swore on his family he would get. Didn't he say that? He said something. Let me try and find that quote. There's Brucey. Hey, Bruce, I'm sorry. I looked at it. It looks like it was an old call.
Yeah.
I was on my keyboard. I think I hit search and it brought your name up, and I thought you were trying to call in. So, but I'm glad you answered the bat signal call, Brucey. What do you think about this trade? First of all.
I like it. I like it for 2 reasons. One, for Dak Prescott. He gets another weapon, and he lost Schultz unless they re-signed him, and I didn't see it. And 2, off CD.
What? You're cutting out there, Brucey.
2 is going to have a really good year.
Let me see if I can find this quote here from Calvin Ridley. Here it is, right here.
Something like that, though.
Here it is. I'm giving Jacksonville 14. Here we go. This is what he said. This is a bold statement here. This is a bold statement. I don't know. This is it made me a little uncomfortable when he said it, but at the same time, I was like, let's stand up. Let's stand up and give this man a round of applause. He said, right now, I feel stronger than I've ever felt mentally and physically. This is Ridley, Calvin Ridley. On the field, I'm flying. Believe me, I'm flying. That GPS band don't lie. On my daughter's name, if I'm healthy, with Trevor Lawrence, ? I'm giving Jacksonville 1,400 yards a season, period. I mean, I'm not betting against that. He might bet against it or for it, but I'm not. Wow. Let's see here. Marvin Jones still a good wide receiver in real life? Not really, bro. I don't think so. Really? Let's see here. This is from Lee. How's Watson not a sleeper? He's in the 7th round, and people seem to forget how good he is. Who are we talking about, Lee? You can't possibly be talking about Christian Watson because he's going way, way earlier than that. He's going like in the 4th round. So you must be talking about Deshaun. Lee, call in, bro. I'll debate you on why I wouldn't go near him. But I will also listen to your argument because there is a possibility what you're saying ends up happening. He comes out and surprises everybody his second year back and has a good year. Would that shock me? No, but your stance is very aggressive against, why you can't imagine people doubt him. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to doubt him, bro. He came back and he didn't have a very good year. And so, like, you're saying, how's Watson not a sleeper? Like, almost like there's no debate for it. You know what I'm saying? So, Lee, I don't mind a good debate in a healthy way. Call in. I'd love to hear the counterpoint of my pessimism toward Deshaun Watson. It would be interesting to hear what you have to say. Burrow versus T-Law should be an honest debate. Jimmy, I wouldn't go that far. I would say that T-Law and Fields in that 5 spot could be an honest debate. But Burrow's in tier 1, broski. He's not relinquishing his top 1 to 4 quarterback rank for anybody. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
Ron, what else you got, Ron? Then we'll go to Bruce.
Well, the original reason why I called in is I agree with you. If you get Najee in the 4th or 5th round where he's going, you're getting a steal. I repeat, a major steal. It's a steal. And Smitty, you forget. You down-talked Najee's season last year. But look at his production from week 11 on. 7 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns. You cannot dispute that he actually poured it on from week 11 on.
Well,
that is major.
Well, Ron, you just said he's a 4th or 5th. You just said
you talk about him though as though he was a bust last year, and he really wasn't. He was injured to begin with. Yes, we had doubts about him, but look at his performance from week 11 on. Well, he had like 1 bad game.
Well, but you're calling him a 4th or 5th rounder. I'm saying he's a 3rd.
No, I'm telling you, if you can get him right now in best ball where he's going, the 4th and 5th round, that is a major steal. You are stealing him away.
Well, I don't think he's going in the 5th round ever.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Let's see here.
He's going in the 4th and 5th round on underdog.
Divided by 12. 3.5.
Promo code Smitty.
3.55 is his ADP on underdog, though. Like, maybe you're seeing it once in a while. But his ADP is 3.55.
I'm in a draft. Every time I'm in a draft, he's going in the 4th or 5th round.
Well, I'm looking at his ADP right now. This is fresh data.
No, he just 4th round.
Well, if you're getting him, if I just said he's a steal in the 3rd round, then clearly I agree with you. He's a monster steal in the 4th or 5th round.
Right, exactly. But where I'm trying to get you at is you literally said he didn't have a great year last year, and he was. And I don't trust him, but look at his game performance. Go back and look at his game performance from week 11 on.
I know, but there is something to the start crush people, and they couldn't recover from it. So not everything's about how you finish. Like Lamar Jackson finished the season on fire in 2020. I believe it's 2020. But he's an absolute bust the first 6, 7, 8 games in the year. And it screwed people, and they couldn't recover from it. So I think what you're taking is he pretty much crapped the bed for people. Pretty much people lost their seasons in some cases, having him as their starter for as long as he did have a very, very... And I know he got hurt, but that's all part of it. He's disappointed. But, I mean, I came away with a very positive take on Najee when I was asked about it. I'm excited about him. I love him in the 3rd. I said 3rd round. I love him in the 3rd round. If you're telling me in the 4th or 5th round... Ron, there's almost zero risk if he's in the 4th or 5th round.
I don't disagree with you what you said about taking him in the 3rd round or whatever. Where I'm having the problem with where your wording was that you can't trust him, that he didn't do very well.
I said I loved him in the 3rd round, Ron. I said I loved him in the 3rd round.
But
I'm saying I know we all sense that we all have that doubt. We all worry about him a little bit. But I'm trying to calm the storm. That is a general feeling, Ron. We all have concerns, maybe not you, but we all have concerns about Najee. And what I was saying, and I think that statement bothered you, but I was trying to calm that fear that a lot of people have and say that third round value protects that. It's baked in, very baked in. So I know what you're saying, but I think the verbiage of he scares everybody it ruffled you a little bit, and I get it. You're a Steeler connoisseur. But I think I supported him pretty well. I think if you run the replay back, I think I supported him pretty well.
Nah, you were a little negative on him, and I think you could have played, especially behind that big offensive line from the Jets lineman, Harding, or I think that's what his name is. He's just gonna make holes. Najee's gonna smash this year. I have no doubt. Najee's he's gonna play up to where we thought he was going to be last year, first, second round. That's how he's going to play this year.
Well, his ADP is 3.55. That's smack in the middle of the third.
No, he's 4.5, Smitty. Well, I guess. Sorry, you're right. 3.5 going in the.
What is it?
Going halfway through the fourth.
But what is this? I have the ADP right in front of me.
What's his ADP?
42.6.
That's the middle of the fourth.
That's 3.55.
Yeah, the middle of the fourth.
Middle of the fourth.
He's in the middle of the third.
No, the middle of the third.
Oh, what am I?
30.
First, 36. That's in the 30s. Look at you got 12 people in the first round, 12 people in the second round. That's 24. 12 people in the third round. That's 36. If he's in the 40s, he's going in the fourth round.
He needs a steal there for sure, but yeah, he is going in the fourth.
I don't see he's going in the fourth. Yeah. Okay. My bad. My bad. 42. It's been a long day.
You had a long week.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, so third round. Okay, you're right. He is in the 42.6. What am I doing? What am I doing? I
He's a steal there.
Yeah. That is pretty good. My bad, Ron. My bad, Ron. I thought it was 3.55. Yeah.
He's not going that high.
Man. Arguing ADP
on
underdog. Best ball is not redraft. AC, best ball is the best ADP out there. Why? Because best ball is paid drafts, bro. People are paying. It doesn't matter if best ball strategy is a little different. Best ball is a fantastic ADP. You know, it's a fantastic ADP. Because it's paying drafts. People are finishing the drafts. They're going to conclusion.
Right, like what AC's saying, I think he just means that running backs are going to go a little earlier in formats where you don't have to start two wide receivers. So that's where, like what you're saying, because underdog, everyone has skin in the game. That's where it really helps, determine the rankings for each position for running backs, receivers. Not necessarily running back to receiver value because that'll change depending on your format, but
yeah. So yeah.
So and you concentrate on getting those. If you have an opportunity to get those Garrett Wilsons and those high receivers the first 3 rounds or so, and then pick up a Najee in the fourth, you're killing it.
Yeah, I like him in the fourth round. I like him in the fourth round a lot. I took him in the third round. Like late third round. So obviously I like him in the fourth round. Fourth round is very low risk. I agree, Ron. I agree. I should have said third round. I'm sorry. I should have did my calculation better. I don't know what. I was spitballing it. I wasn't even thinking. I was dividing it by 12. I should have looked at it more closely. 42.6, yes. That is in the fourth round. And he's projected for, the one thing I do like about Najee, which I thought I was speaking pretty positive about it. It was the ADP that screwed up the conversation. But I mean, 10, 38, 3 TDs. Did someone just let it rip on there? What was that? What was that sound? What was that? What was that? It was like. Brr.
Somebody
I
has
was muted, but I heard it too.
We'll blame it on Ben.
Hey.
Ben, you're live. What can we do for you?
I was just calling in to talk about the ADPs and all that. And I think you were also giving Najee a good benefit of the doubt because you were honestly assuming he's going in the third, which was a little optimistic as we're
Apparently I was wrong on his ADP. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, even more so, I was arguing in favor of what Ron's saying in general. But
right.
But yeah, 4th round. I mean, I found myself very comfortably taking him at the bottom of 3, and I haven't really felt bad about it at all. I slept like a baby the night after, so I wasn't affected. But I think it's very important, to Ron's point, 10-38 and 10 total touchdowns is a good year for somebody that in some ways felt like they crapped the bed last year. Like if you drafted Najee last year, unless you're Ron, you felt like he crapped the bed for a big portion of the year.
Was that rushing or total?
That was just rushing, 10-38. So he had a total yardage of it's surprising when you look at it. He had 229 receiving, he had 10-38, and then 10 total touchdowns and 41 receptions. It was a really good year considering, but he still felt like he crapped the bed because there was a string of games where he failed you and you probably lost games, and some of it's about consistency. And best ball wouldn't have mattered. Best ball, he would have got you the 10-38 rushing, the 7 touchdowns, the 41 receptions, the 229 receiving, and the 3 receiving touchdowns, the 10 total scores. Best ball doesn't matter. End of day, those stats will be there. He'll be put in your lineup for you or taken out of your lineup for you. But that's a good year. If he is floating in the 4th round still, and Ron's correct, that's low risk.
My big point was that we were down on him. I was down on him at the beginning of the season, all the way, he got the injury and we were down on him. But my point was, if you're worried about him coming into this year, look at how he finished last year. Look at his week 11 through 17 and look at how he did. And that you should be really optimistic about getting him in the 4th round. And he could put up top 10 RB numbers this year coming into it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Agreed. Ron, you're going to want to plug your ears for this one. But Najee was actually my 1st round pick last year, and it was only a 10-man league, so this was a little less egregious. But I dropped him to the waivers in week 11, right before week 11, for Kadarius Toney.
I don't know that I would have done that. Hey, real quick.
I know, it was crazy.
Real quickly, Lunchbox with a super.
Well, he did it. Go ahead.
Lunchbox with a super chat here. First underdog I did with you, I got Najee in round 5. So great job, Lunchbox. That's definitely low risk territory. Definitely low risk territory. There's nothing wrong with Najee. As I said from the beginning, nothing wrong with Najee in that territory. Like Najee's going to serve you very well and I said even the 3rd round when I started the show, as Ben said. But
when you got rid of Najee right before week 11, and then you saw his performance from 11 on, were you disappointed that you got rid of him?
Oh, I'm sure he was. He's not even talking about it. That's how mad he was.
Yeah, I was definitely upset that I got rid of him. He got picked up right away.
Yeah. So
that was a mistake. He went off the week. He went off as soon as I dropped him. For weeks, I had him. I don't know. He was just, yeah.
Yeah, he was disappointing.
We all remember how he was week 1 through 10.
But yeah, he was disappointing, and I was on the record on Smitty's show saying that I would dump him and get rid of him because he wasn't performing.
Yeah, I did it. I really did it.
I definitely wouldn't cut him, but I think there's some concern about using him until he bounced back. Brees, Etienne, Pitts in 1 through 4 in the Dynasty startup yesterday. Brees, Etienne, Pitts. Bijan, Brees, Etienne, Pitts. Bijan on round 1, Brees round 2, Etienne round 3, Pitts round 4. Fantastic start, Oliver. And I'm one to defend Kyle Pitts in round 4 or 5 in a Dynasty startup. I don't agree with anybody that says that he's no longer in the conversation of being the number one dynasty tight end. He absolutely is. Don't let last year fool you. This guy, the best rookie tight end season that we've ever seen in the NFL. So Kyle Pitts, getting Ritter for a full season, we're going to see what he's going to be able to do. And maybe, we see something else brew in the coming months or weeks or whatever. So we'll see. And even if we don't, I'm still okay with Kyle Pitts. I think that's a great start, bro. Fantastic start. Peanut Butter and Waver says, yo, what's up, broski? So this became a Najee Harris show. Let's go back to Brandin Cooks real quick. Ben, what do you think Brandin Cooks does for CeeDee Lamb? And how does Brandin Cooks do in general?
I think 900 is about a good range for him. Probably 5 to 7 touchdowns, maybe.
999.
Hopefully he opens it up for the Lamb Chops to give us a year, man. I'm hoping for 1,410 from Lamb Chops. So
yeah, 999.
That'd be great.
4 or 5 touchdowns. I think expecting more than that out of Brandin Cooks is a little too much to expect, but could he deliver it? Sure. CeeDee Lamb, I don't think it takes away from Lamb because I don't think Brandin Cooks is that guy still. I think he's potentially that guy. He could be that guy for a game or two, but is Brandin Cooks going to go out and ball out for 17 straight games? Is he going to be the 1,200 yard and 8 to 9 to 10 touchdown wide receiver? I don't think so. I think he's always an injury risk too. Like he's got a lot of injury risk to his name. So I think Lamb's fine. I think it's great. I do know he stretches the field enough that Lamb's going to see less double teams if he's healthy. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Not to mention if you put him out on the outside, guess who gets to play the slot? CeeDee Lamb. Who thrives in the slot? CeeDee Lamb.
I think there's a lot of smoke right now about Mike McCarthy's comments about wanting to run the ball.
Maybe.
With Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator, man, unless they're winning games by blowouts, they're not going to be able to run the ball like that. And Kellen Moore is going to want to pass that thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Kellen Moore's in the Chargers now.
Yeah, Kellen Moore's not even with them anymore.
Oh,
yeah, he's
okay.
with the Chargers.
I got that flipped.
Yeah, I know what you
Sorry
meant,
for
though.
that.
I know what you meant, though.
Yeah.
McCarthy's going to be calling the plays this year.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
Right.
He was just saying it wrong.
True. Well, maybe, yeah, I got that a little mixed up in my head.
But
Go
yeah,
Chargers.
what McCarthy said was that now that he's blaming a lot on Moore. He's saying that Kellen Moore, his play calling was kind of like why they were where they were. So he's essentially saying that Kellen Moore is a problem. McCarthy wants to run the ball more. And a lot of people have a problem with what McCarthy said because McCarthy's essentially saying that he knows better than Moore. And all this pressure is now going to be on McCarthy, who says he wants to run the damn ball. I want to run the damn ball. They ran the ball a lot last year, so it's kind of like a confusing thing. And at the same time, it's like, is he going to ruin what's working though? Like maybe the Dallas Cowboys aren't winning playoff games, and the Dallas Cowboys aren't headed to a Super Bowl. They're not on a Super Bowl track, but is McCarthy going to derail them completely from having this effective offense that works really well? Because we're a little worried about McCarthy calling plays. We're a little worried about what McCarthy's going to do. Kellen Moore was pretty good. He did pretty good. Like this offense was very good. It's always a top 5 offense. So I'm a little worried about that. It's a red flag for me a little bit for like, let's say Pollard to not have Kellen Moore there. But I don't know, bro.
Do we think there's a chance to bring in a new coordinator, or
no?
McCarthy's really going to call the play?
It's already in motion. McCarthy's he's excited about it. He thinks that it's going to be the difference maker. So yeah, for him to backtrack on that now,
agree with that.
For him to backtrack on that now would be weird. This guy's ready.
Right? Yeah.
So that's not exciting.
There.
I do think Tony Pollard If it works, if McCarthy's let's run the damn ball, project works, then Tony Pollard's gonna, have a day every day. But I do feel like Cooks will help CeeDee Lamb. I do think that if, let's say, McCarthy takes Lamb out of the slot or something stupid and doesn't, like, this could be a Nathaniel Hackett unraveling. It really could. It could be. Like, there's that potential threat that Dallas just crumbles. And, like, week 3 or 4, they got to make a change. And they have to, like, bring in an offensive coordinator, like you're saying, and, like, figure out, like, McCarthy's either going to run the ball very effectively, and it's going to be what we had hoped, or he's going to, at some point, look like Hackett to us, and they're going to have to come in and do cleanup in midseason. So, we'll see. I'm a little worried about it. I'm not going to lie, but I love Tony Pollard so much, and I feel like Tony Pollard is so electric. Per touch, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. And I'm just amped about Tony Pollard's season. I just hope they don't bring in, because he wants to run the damn ball so much, they don't bring in some sort of bigger name running back, some like Kareem Hunt. Like, everyone's so excited about Zeke leaving. We don't want to be that excited about Zeke leaving. I'm telling you, he's a shell of himself, and he clogs up the running back room enough that they can't bring in a Bijan. They can't bring in this or that. And Kareem Hunt is a much bigger threat than Zeke Elliott, and he's still out there. And he's not, no one's signing him either. So, like, if they cut Zeke Elliott June 1 and Kareem Hunt's still out there, it would suck, but you would be, from a football perspective, nuts not to look at Kareem Hunt. So I'm just a little fearful that we're going to see a Zeke Elliott exit and a much better running back come in. But either way, I'm still going to be very, very into Tony Pollard, because if his value tanks a little bit through a Kareem Hunt signing, or let's say they draft a pretty decent running back or something, not Bijan, but they draft somebody like Bigsby or whatever, that I'm going to be pretty excited about the drop in ADP that Pollard might see, and then be able to circle back in. Because last year Pollard wasn't the lone starter, and we still got him at a screaming steal, and he still potentially helped win people leagues. If Pollard falls out of his ADP value now, then that could be a good and a bad thing, just depending on what's going on. This here super chat from Lunchbox. Lunchbox says, first year best ball, did not get an elite QB, so went with T-Law and Daniel Jones. You prefer any specific duo or strategy if you miss out on the top QBs? Yeah, I mean, A-Rod. A-Rod's one of my very, very, very favorite best ball quarterbacks, our 2 QB quarterbacks, even if it's Dynasty, because he's so cheap. It doesn't matter. I'll figure out the quarterback position later. I don't like to take A-Rod as my first quarterback, but like, let's say I had Burrow, Fields, T-Law. I want my second quarterback to be Aaron Rodgers by design. I'll figure it out later on. I'll draft somebody. I'll trade. I'll do whatever. But it affords you so much flexibility, because people run away from Aaron Rodgers because they feel that need of, in Dynasty, I can't have somebody that's got 1 year left. People just keep passing on him, and he's just sitting there, and you can win cash money, win your league. Aaron Rodgers could even play 2 more years. Do I like Danny Dimes and T-Law? Yes, I love the T-Law part. Danny Dimes, he runs a lot. He's not a horrible quarterback. Depends what your team looks like, to be honest with you. But that's a pretty formidable QB combination, I would say, because T-Law is top 6. I think T-Law is right in the top 6. So if you got T-Law and A-Rod, I almost like that a little better than T-Rod. T-Law and A-Rod together is T-Rod, basically. But if you've got T-Law and A-Rod versus T-Law and Danny Dimes, I actually like the A-Rod one better, because you probably got him later. Dimes probably costs you a whole lot more, and I don't know. I honestly don't think you can guarantee me at all that Danny Dimes will play longer than Aaron Rodgers. I think, of course, you would assume that based on the $94 million guaranteed. I'm just saying, what if Aaron Rodgers plays 2 years? We've seen quarterbacks fizzle away in 2 years of play before. And I'm not saying Danny Dimes will for sure fizzle away, but we were about ready to write him off, and Dable saved him, and Dable does that. He's captain save a quarterback. He's captain save a quarterback. This guy will go out and turn a bad quarterback into a good quarterback. He'll turn a good quarterback into a great quarterback. We don't know what's in store for Danny Dimes during his third year from this season. He's going to obviously get a full chance this year. He's getting $94 million guaranteed. He's obviously going to get a second year. But what if he craps the bed for 2 straight years? I'd rather just have Aaron Rodgers in a super flex. But I do think you've got a decent QB crew. Just obviously depends, Lunchbox, on who your RBs and wide receivers are. But don't feel bad about your crew, especially Danny Dimes runs a lot. He'll have a pretty decent season. He'll run the ball a ton. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And hopefully, you're playing more than just like taking more than one shot. You're taking several shots at the best balls, and you're diversifying. So you can try different combinations. Like, you listen to Smitty all the time, and he's all on, the combination of Joey Burrow, the tripod. He's all over that. So there's different combinations that you can try out. You can go after your prime quarterbacks, and if you don't get one of them, then you construct your team accordingly, and you get lower quarterbacks, but you pair them up with their receivers, some of them. You try to anyways, and stack them as much as you can if they come to you. Don't force it, but if they come to you, then, stack their players with them.
Yeah, and
so that's another.
And that was, I believe, a best ball question. So I'm sorry I went off on a super flex. I was hitting it from all different angles, but going back to the 1 QB. So if you're doing a 1 QB draft and you've got T-Law and Dimes, that's fine, because Dimes is your backup. Dimes is your backup, and in best ball he'll get inserted in obviously when let's say T-Law is playing bad, or if he gets hurt, or he's on a bye. I just would want one more quarterback that's of the caliber of Danny Dimes. If you're gonna go in a best ball 1 QB. If you're going to go with T-Law as your quarterback, which I like him, he's top 6, but he's not as big and he doesn't have as much firepower as, Hurts or Mahomes or Josh Allen or whatever, or even Fields. If you're going to go down to that number 6 quarterback in T-Law and Danny Dimes is your only other quarterback, I want another Danny Dimes. I want another Derek Carr. I want another Aaron Rodgers. I want somebody else, so that you have 3 quarterbacks that can rotate for you. Having just 2 quarterbacks in best ball is not a good option, in my opinion. I think you should have 3 quarterbacks for the optimal scoring.
Yep.
So sorry I didn't cover the best ball as much. I kept going on Dynasty Superflex, but.
And the other thing with best ball is, don't go in there thinking, okay, I'm going to get the Hurts and AJ combo, or I'm going to go get this specific combo. Let the draft, depending on where you're drafting at, let the draft fall to you, and if it's possible, if Hurts comes up and you're let's say you're in the 10th spot and Hurts and AJ are there, and you pick up AJ in 10th and Hurts is on the way back, that's a good way to get that combo if you're looking at combo, but it's within their ADP where they usually go. So you're getting them within ADP, you're not reaching for them, and you're getting the stack naturally instead of trying to force it. So let the flow of the draft dictate how you're drafting and how you're going to go after certain stacks.
Yeah. Lunchbox says, okay, Spitty, it's a slow draft, so I can still get a third QB. Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers, but don't do it at the expense, since you already have 2. Don't do it at the expense of not landing a Charbonnet or something like that, But if you're given you have Danny Dimes, I assume you're probably past Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr. I think another quarterback, like even Anthony Richardson, a rookie that runs a lot, is even a good third quarterback. Yep. So take a look at who's available. Lunchbox, you can do a ton of these drafts too. I've done a few Burrow and Mahomes drafts where, yes, it's 1 QB, but I love having both Mahomes and Burrow in a 1 QB best ball, because I've drafted that before, right? I timed out on the Cooper Cup League, and I got Burrow and Mahomes. I have both of them, and rotating between the 2, which I didn't always execute properly, because you can't possibly. It's hard to know which quarterbacks can outscore the other each week. But rotating with them, I think I finished in the top 10 of the Cooper Cup 96 team league. Even auto drafting in the 3rd and 4th round, Burrow and Mahomes back to back. So I screwed myself out of a 3rd or 4th round other positional player that's a non QB. but that firepower helped me finish that high in the Cooper Cup League. If you're in best ball, you don't have to make that decision each week and screw it up. It's done for you. You're going to 100% effectively utilize the Mahomes-Burrow combination. So best ball is crazy. There's no 100% way to win. A lot of it comes down to, do you have a bunch of players other people didn't have? Do you have a bunch of Dameon Pierce shares nobody else had last year? And did you get Kenneth Walker very late and that helped, put you over the edge? So best ball is very, very interesting, very, very fun. There's 100,000 different ways to win. I just will tell you that you don't want to have just two quarterbacks ever, because there's a bye week, and if one of your quarterbacks gets hurt and that quarterback that is healthy still has a bye week coming up, you're going to get crushed in that 1 week alone. So you got to have three quarterbacks, and without the buys, without knowing the bye weeks, it is everybody's in the same boat where they don't know, no one knows whose bye is when, and you could end up drafting two quarterbacks that have the same bye week. So my strategy of having four quarterbacks in a best ball right now, without knowing the schedule, the bye weeks, all that, is more advantageous, because if you get slapped with two quarterbacks that have a bye week on the same week and you just have the three, now you're screwed too, because you have less coverage. So four quarterbacks is even better.
Also, with him having Danny Dimes, and if it's a slow draft, remember a lot of the Giants receivers are late in the draft, so you can get Hodgins, which we all love Hodgins. You can get them late. Look for them late. Same with Slayton, Richie. All those wide receivers are available late in the draft that you can pair them up with.
Rock out. What else you got? Thank you, Lunchbox.
Need help on our Dynasty.
You need help on Dynasty?
Yeah.
Okay, hit me with it.
Yeah, basically, I went all in and won a championship last year, and I'm only down to Rodgers. I need to get quarterbacks, but I got a bunch of receivers and running backs. I'll name those players. I got Eckler,
who's making that sound?
Cook, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans. I got
it's like every 10 seconds.
Pacheco, Pierce, and
I'm sorry. Hey, hit me with it one more time. Let me write down your team. Hit me with it one more time.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I got Aaron Rodgers, then I got Austin Eckler, Dalvin Cook, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, McKinnon, Pacheco, Brissett, Pierce, and Debo.
Okay. And what's the main question? What's your objective here? Quarterback, you said?
Yeah, I only got one quarterback because I went all in and won championship last year.
And is it a 1 QB? Two. Okay. So you got no second quarterback.
Man, super flex.
No second quarterback.
Yeah, and I also have 2 second rounders, and I got the last pick of the first round.
And you get the 1.12? Well, I mean, you won for a reason. Your team's good. I mean, I don't get rid of A-Rod. You're not going to get anything for him. So I roll with him one more time. Do I like the idea of getting rid of like Cook or potentially Pacheco and trying to get, some sort of quarterback in that QB1 role and then put Aaron Rodgers in the QB2 role? Yeah, but like, who's going to trade a quarterback in a super flex? Like, I don't know that you can get rid of Dalvin Cook. I don't know that you can get rid of a Pacheco. Pretty hard to imagine. Pretty hard to imagine getting a Fields or a Burrow or any one of that caliber, a T. Law even. I think maybe your best bet is to move that 1.12 up to get like a Bryce Young. Like, I don't know where you expect him to go. I'm sure Bijan will be a top 4 pick regardless of it being super flex. I'm sure Gibbs or Jackson Smith and Jigba will be borderline top 4 or 5. So even if, let's say, all of the top 3 quarterbacks go in the top 6 overall, top 7 overall, you'd have to get up to that like 6, 7 overall range from 12. So is it worth trading a Dalvin Cook to do that? I don't know. I think maybe your best bet is to try and run it back and try and get some Sam Howell or some sort of... You don't have any other quarterbacks at all, just Aaron Rodgers. That is literally it.
Him and Brissett, but
Brissett.
basically just Rodgers.
Yeah, if I'm looking at... Let's see here. Let me look at some wide receiver or some quarterbacks here and see if I can find like a deep sleeper for you that you could try and grab. But I mean, you could always try and go after an injured Kyler Murray. You could always try and go after an injured Brock Purdy. You could always go after a Mike White. You could always go after and try and go after these guys using things that won't affect your ability to maybe win now. And then you get to slide in a Mike White. In your situation, the times where I've been creative and I've picked up the Mike Whites, I've picked up those guys that don't look like they're starters. The Heineke types, the Gardner Minshew could be starting in Indianapolis if, let's say, Indy doesn't want to take Levis. Like those are the things I guess I would be looking to maybe I'd take a look at those things to try and prepare. Because there's been plenty of times where I've started a Taysom Hill, who's played quarterback, and it's looked bleak for me at the QB2 spot, but I figured it out. So I would definitely start looking at those things, but I would try and move that pick up to get Bryce Young, because I think Bryce Young's going to be probably the biggest steal of the quarterbacks. I have a feeling that he's not going to be, the first quarterback taken or even the second quarterback taken, and he might even be borderline the third quarterback taken, because I think some people do like Levis more. I think a lot of people are worried about Bryce Young's height, and he's got about 50% doubters out there, bro. So that might be what you try and do, move that 1.12 up. I don't think I'd get rid of... I'd try and sell Eckler, but only high. Have you tried to get that 1.2 or 3 for him?
Not yet.
I would take Gibbs over him.
Right. Okay. Probably try for the Bryce Young.
Yeah, Bryce Young would be good. Ben, what else you got? What is that noise? Who is making those? I'm not mad. I just want to know who's doing it. It sounds like someone's like letting them rip constantly. Is somebody got the phone in their pocket? Like, just.
I think it's the AMSR gods.
Yeah. What are we doing? ASMRF BD, whatever it is again. Breeze Hall. Joe Burrow.
The old AT&T phone.
Pat Mahomes. K9.
Oh my God, damn.
Brees Hall. All right. I don't know. No one's admitting who it is. I want to say it's got to be Rock Out or the Bruce.
It's definitely not me.
Okay, let's rule out everybody.
man,
I don't think it's Ron Navy. Is it Ben? Ben, are you making those noises?
No, I was muted. I'm doing a DoorDash right now, low key.
Oh, nice.
But I did have one thing to mention about.
Are you a DoorDasher, Ben?
Ron.
Hold on. You're a Door. You're
I'm doing DoorDash right now.
You're a DoorDasher. That's pretty. Is that like a side gig or is it the full time gig? What is?
Yeah, it's like mostly a little side gig.
That's cool, bro.
I'm mostly a forklift driver, but it's the off season right now for a couple months. But
Nice, bro.
yeah.
Okay.
I did want to say one thing on Ron. Ron was saying, like I agree 100% with Ron. You don't want to go into any draft with with an exact thing you want to do. Sometimes you want to just take the value that comes to you. But on the other hand, I have been seeing a few people kind of mix it up a bit, and I really like the idea. Like, I've seen people take A.J. Brown with, like, the number 4 or 5 pick, and then they try and grab Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts on the way back around.
Yeah, it's
a good way to get interesting and get your stacks. And
yeah, it's a little high for me. I get it. I get why you'd want to try it, but I definitely couldn't take A.J. Brown that high. I get the stacks cool. Like the stack, if it happens naturally, I'm into it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily, like Jamar Chase, like passing on Jamar Chase if he were there, or Tyreek Hill. I think it'd be just. I think that scores more points. The stack doesn't score
that's
more.
True, but the idea, I suppose, is that that's definitely the way you want to do it when you're competing with a smaller field of people, because you're just looking to get your points.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I definitely.
Sometimes, like the way to maximize your upside in a tournament format where you have 112,000 people you're competing against is with the uniqueness that nobody else is really going to have.
Yeah, I hear you, but it could also knock you out if, let's say, the Eagles have a bad outing. So there's still the diversity to it.
But don't do that. Just don't do that 150 times.
Yeah, I hear you. I'd rather just drop different variations of what I think will win, though. But I think A.J. Brown, I mean, I've naturally drafted the A.J. Brown, Hurts, and Devontae Smith thing before. I but definitely didn't have to force it at the 4, 5, or 6 spot. Like you could almost do that.
Crazy.
You could almost do that from the 12 pick pretty easily, or the 11 pick or something. Devontae.
Not really though, because that 3rd round pick doesn't come back around for a long time.
Maybe
early on you could.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've done it naturally, and at this point, it's like say goodbye to it. You know what I mean? Like at this point, I'm not going to force it. Devontae Smith, where's Devontae Smith going? He's going right around. He's going higher and higher, so it is harder to do it. He's right at the tail end of the 2nd round. That's crazy. 22 overall. That's too high. I love Devontae Smith, but I can't take him at 22 overall. And Jalen Hurts is going at 20, so pretty hard to even do it anymore. Like you'd almost have to do it at the 1 pick, because you could only get Hurts and Devontae Smith at the 24-25 turn if you were lucky and things fell right. But that's the important thing about doing best ball early on, like in January, February, March, April, May, June. If you do it the entire way, you get to cycle through all these really cool strategies, and I call out any strategy I see so that you could deploy it for as long as possible. And so, there was the time, you guys remember, it was Bijan. It was what became the first Marsmen. These guys.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Marsmen.
The first 3 additions to the Marsmen were Burrow, Chase, and Bijan.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
Those are the first 3 Marsmen I added, and I added them because I was able to draft all 3 of them in best ball for a very, very, very short period of time. And now you can't. Now you can't even come close to doing that. So I think, instead of forcing something like that, you just take advantage of it while you can. I think one of the better strategies now that I don't know that will be in existence for very much longer would be if you're drafting at the 12 pick in best ball, you can take Bijan, Garrett Wilson, and Joe Burrow. And you still have your back-to-back pick with Joe Burrow. You can still pick a 4th player right next to Burrow. But to start your draft off with Bijan, Garrett Wilson, and Joe Burrow is a fantastic best ball strategy that you can deploy now that you might not be able to deploy, forever.
Well, I told you about. I was picking from the 12th last night when about 2:30 when I was talking to you, Smitty. Remember?
Yeah.
That tip I got. I faded because like when we first started doing the big boards when it first opened, I was hitting all the Hurts and all that, but now I'm finding myself fading quarterbacks. So like last night's draft, I ended up with Rodgers, Carr, and Pickett, but then like I had the Bijan, Charbonnet, Samperine, Tucker, Warren, and then my receivers I smashed Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, Drake London, George Pickens, Zay Flowers, Tim Patrick, and I got Kyle Pitts too on this team and Freiermuth.
Yeah, that's good.
So it was like my whole strategy is kind of like, yeah, you're right. You're so right on that. Premium quarterbacks, when Big Board first started, I was doing that, and then I shifted to fading the quarterback, and maybe the Justin Fields area. I pick up Justin Fields, and you're still able to get DJ. That combo is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy to get.
Fields is a fun.
And then you got Claypool way down that you can pick up for a stack, and you also got Mooney that's above Claypool, but he's still very gettable.
Mm-hmm. I like Fields a lot right now. I've been drafting a lot of Fields in best ball because I have so many Burrow. Mahomes, Hurts, and I still draft those guys whenever I can. But now I do love cycling into a different approach, and Fields-driven teams are nice to have right now. Lamb, you got Lamb to the moon, says this guy. I mean, we love Lamb, but Lamb was a moon man last year. He's not on the moon man list this year, but he was last year. He was a graduate from last year. Charbonnet is the next David Montgomery. I'm not even sure how to take this because I'm not sure if you're ripping on David Montgomery or you're trying to just say David Montgomery in his prime, or you're predicting David Montgomery to have a really good bounce back this year, or I'm not sure. I will say that Charbonnet is going to be better than David Montgomery. I think Charbonnet has the potential to be a top 10 running back this year, even as a rookie. Like his rookie, I'm not saying he'll become that, and then 2024 we start looking at him that way. I'm saying he could be a top 10 running back this year. We need to know where he's going to land. Clearly, there's risk if you're counting on that, and I don't expect you to be counting on that because I tell you to take advantage of ADP. What is that? Someone got chickens? Who? Literally, come on, guys. I'm going to go down the line. Who is the one making the ASR?
No, that's not a chicken. That's my darn dog barking.
Oh, it sounded like chickens. I'm like, here, we got no one admitting what's going on in the background. It's okay. We all have lives. If you're raising chickens, just admit it. It's fine. Ron's going out to get a fresh egg so he can cook some eggs and bacon.
No, that's my dog. She's a Pomeranian, so she might sound like a chicken.
All right, rock out. I do got to go. Rock out. Final thought. 10 seconds.
I think I'm good. Appreciate it.
All right, rock out. Appreciate you, man. Call back anytime.
All right.
Ben, 10 seconds. Hey, Ben
might be doing his thing.
Ben, I want to know what you were delivering, by the way. I want to know what kind of food it was. Have you guys ever heard of the DoorDash people that literally take a bite? And I don't know that they actually bite out of your sandwich, but they take what would constitute a bite from every single meal they deliver. And at the end of the day, they have a full meal that's got different food from everybody's thing. But I've heard that before. So when I get DoorDash or whatever, I make sure that tape is on the bag, man. These people that deliver it, and you open up your sandwich, and it's like, why is there a big chunk of meat missing from underneath the right corner of the bun? I've seen these people, they literally pull over, and one person caught them on TikTok. They were recording them. They pulled over, they're on the sidewalk, and they were like literally opening all the bags, and they were taking one thing out of every single one and making a meal out of it. This is craziness. Ben, I don't recommend you do that. Ben, what did you deliver? He's probably got us in his earpiece. He's probably talking to the
It was
lady.
actually it was some antifungal cream from Walgreens.
Really?
But yeah, it was weird. But I definitely don't steal. I don't steal nobody's food.
Did you steal some of the fungal? Did you take a little dab of that fungal cream?
All right, you got me.
Hey,
I did take some of the fungal cream.
Hey, Ron, did he deliver it? Did he deliver the fungal cream in speedy time?
I think so.
Is it on your porch? Hey, so people.
I think Ben is probably very fast because he's got to get back to his draft. So he's a very fast delivery person.
Ben, when when
you already know I'm drafting and dashing at the same time.
Ben probably at the buzzer, like, at some complex, probably hit the buzzer and goes, "Ma'am, I got your fungal cream. I'm downstairs." All right, Ben, final.
It's terrible. I'll be. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone. Appreciate you, Smitty. Appreciate Ron Navy. Appreciate everyone for coming out.
All right, later, Ben.
Get those best ball teams looking good. Everyone have a good one. Catch you later.
Later, Ben.
Hey Ben, is Piercy a relative of yours? Because there's a Piercy
What's
in the
that?
chat. There's a Piercy Haskell in the chat sometimes too. Is he a relative? Are you guys relatives?
Oh no, I don't. I'm not familiar, but that's interesting.
Okay.
I'll have to catch up with him.
Yeah, maybe long lost cousins.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, later, Ben.
I appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Later.
All right, Bruce, you got 10 seconds.
Hey, I appreciate everybody. And if you do best ball, do underdog, promo code Smitty.
That's right. That's a man of the show right there. That's a man of the show. Appreciate you, Brucey. Thanks for answering the bat signal.
Yep, no problem.
All right, later. All right, Ron, final words?
Yeah, going back to Cook, I think there's better options for the Cowboys than Cooks. I would have rather seen them get somebody like Hopkins or OBJ. I think they could have made a bigger smash than Cooks. So it's okay. It doesn't really.
But would you have wanted that?
But
would you have wanted that though for Lamb? Would you have wanted that for Pollard? Would you,
Yeah, I think Hopkins would have been great.
I think it would have been good, but I think I'd rather, for Lamb's sake, get Cooks versus Hopkins. I think Hopkins could eat into a little bit more of the production. So in the end, I like it. I think you're right from a football perspective, from a club perspective. I would have rather have had Hopkins, but I'm excited that it's not a bigger name guy. I'm glad he's like just perfect. He's gonna stretch the field. He's a burner. He's a burner. He's going to stretch the field, and guess who's playing the slot more? CeeDee Lamb. So this is fantastic. I love it. Yeah, Lamb in the slot's good. But I hear you. If I was running the club, I would have taken Hopkins. For sure.
Yeah, that's what I would have taken. But, they just got rid of Noah Brown. They had Noah Brown, and they got rid of Houston got Noah Brown now. So they just basically swap players, if you think about it. But,
all righty, Ron.
It is what it is. All right, we'll touch you later.
I'll probably be back up. We'll do a Zoom call soon, so look out for that. All right, guys, later.
Oh, all right, awesome. Bye.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. Appreciate you all. I'm sure there's going to be more breaking news at some point today, or I'll do a video at some point today. But it was good talking about Lamb and the effects of Brandin Cooks in Dallas, and talked a lot about Najee. Good little show. Good little informative show. I'll see you all on the flip side. I'll be back at some point today for another video at some point. Later. Appreciate you. Thank you, Lunchbox, for your super chat. Best ball did not get an elite QB, so I went T-Law and Danny Dimes. Again, just to recap this question, in best ball 1 QB, I like this approach. I just get one more quarterback. If it's super flex, which is not, but I'm just trying to give people a sense of this duo for anybody. I don't love the idea of T-Law and Danny Dimes as much as I love the idea of T-Law and Aaron Rodgers. But Danny Dimes runs the ball a lot, and guess what? In best ball, he's going to have those big 30 or 40-point games, and so in a sense, Danny Dimes and T-Law could actually, in best ball, one quarterback, be better than Aaron Rodgers and T-Law in a sense. It could be, because T-Law will score baller points, but then when Danny Dimes has that big game, you don't have to have made the decision yourself to start him. It will happen for you. So Lunchbox, appreciate your super chat. Appreciate your support. And I I got Najee in the 5th round. Nice, says Lunchbox on his other super chat. Rockout dropped a super chat here. Wedding Crashers, Meatloaf, and then of course Cheryl. Appreciate your question as well. Thank you guys all for all the conversation. I'll see you all on the next video, probably later today, I imagine. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.